Today we're going to be looking at the top 5 best meta builds for rifles in Escape from Tarkov. We're going to look at the Mutant, the M4, the Spear, the X17, and the SR3M. First gun we're going to look at is the Mutant. With the Mutant, the first thing you're going to want to add is the 409mm barrel and adding the CMMG gas block. You're going to want to change the handguard to the RSAS handguard, the SAS handguard. You're going to want to put a rail on the bottom and add an SC5. I like to add the tan SC5 because it goes with the handguard. You're going to want to then add the ARE buttstock. Sorry, the ARE buffer tube. And you're going to want to add the DD ECB stock with the larger pad to give it better recoil control. You're going to want to add the Growl pistol grip. And then usually it'll come with this. This adds 1 ergo. All of these, just pick whichever one you want. Doesn't matter. Some of them take away, but you're going to want the one with the best ergo. Then you're going to want to add a 30mm ring mount. And whichever sight you like the best, I like to use the Voodoo, but whichever one you want. Up here, you're going to want to add a rail. And you can choose whichever weapon, flashlight, or laser attachment you like. I like the Boulder Pro. And then at the front, you're going to want to choose the QDC762 with the suppressor that goes with it, giving it the best recoil with the suppressor. You can run this loud. You can run it fully loud. This gives it the best ergo and the best recoil, but it does cover your screen with a large blast every time you shoot, and I don't really like it because of that, but it is a good option. But I like to run mine suppressed. That's the full build for the Mutant. This is the best you can get the Mutant for ergo and recoil. Somewhere around 40 ergo and 71 recoil. That's around the best you can get for it. Next gun we're going to look at is the M4. The first thing you're going to want to do on the M4 is change the upper receiver. You're going to want to change the upper receiver to the AX15. You want to change the bolt to the Raptor and change the buffer tube to the ARE, adding on the same stock we used on the Mutant, the DD-ECB, and adding on the largest butt pad. For the pistol grip, you're going to want to add the Growl. This is the best in slot for most guns. And you're going to want to add the 16-inch Hansen barrel, adding on the SIQD, the 14.5-inch handrail. And for the gas block, you're going to want to add the Low Pro. Underneath the handguard, you're going to want to add an SE5 foregrip. And whichever flashlight or laser attachment you like. I like the Boulder Pro once again. And in the front, you're going to want to add the G-Lock with the suppressor, giving it the best suppressor for 5.56 rifles. And in the back, you're going to want to add the iron sights that give the best ergo. So each of these give 1 ergo. That's the best you can get on iron sights. And then add on the 30mm ring mount with the scope of your choosing. I'd say the top 3 are the Razor, the Voodoo, and probably the Tango. But I'd probably say the Voodoo and the Razor are the 2 best options you can choose from. Once you've done that, you're going to want to add a 60-round drum. There are 2 60-rounders. This one gives slightly worse stats, but it is still a 60-rounder, and it's more available to you than this 60-rounder. But this one is better and looks better in my opinion. But yeah, that's the M4 build. That's the best you're going to get on an M4. 61 ergo and 52 vertical recoil. You can get better recoil on all these guns, but these are for ergo and recoil, making it fully meta. Alright, the next gun we're going to look at is the Sig Spear. The Sig Spear usually comes already a little built. Sometimes you'll have a scope on the top. Sometimes from the rogues it'll be unsuppressed. It just depends on which one you get. But on the Sig Spear, the first thing you're going to want to do is go to the stock, and you're going to want to change it to the Sig FKSA adapter, and then you're going to want to add an ARE with the same stock as the other builds, adding on the largest butt pad you can for the recoil. You're going to want to change the pistol grip to the Growl, And I like to run the 25 rounders in this. I don't like to run the drums because of the ergo that it takes away. And really with the spear, you don't need too much ammo to take out your targets. This is a good caliber. There's only 2 bullets for it, and they're both pretty decent. Underneath for the foregrip, you're going to want to add the SE5. I like to go with 10 because it matches the rest of the build. There's no other suppressors you can use for this, so this is the best in slot for it, the CLQD. And on the front, I like to add the Balder Pro as per usual. And then iron sights, they give best ergo that you can get for the cheapest. And then 30mm ring mount. And I like to run a Voodoo. So that's the best Sig Spear that you can make. Alright, so the next gun we're going to be looking at is the X17. So the Scar H, but in the X17 variant. This variant can take the drum mags for it, which is the best part about it, because while using the drum mags, it gives you the higher capacity of bullets, and it just makes this gun so much better than if you were only able to use like 20 rounders that the base version can use. This one can also use the 25 rounders if you choose to use those. I like to run the drum mag. On the stock, you're not changing much on the stock. You're going to change it to the VSS 11, and that's it. That's all you want to do on the stock. And with the barrel, you're going to want to run the 16-inch barrel, and you're going to want to put an SE5 on this. Where's the SE5? SE5 on this. You're going to want to add the best in slot iron sights, just for that extra ergo, that extra little bit of ergo. 30mm ring mount, whichever scope you like. I like the Voodoo. And on the front, before you put on the SE5, sorry, you're going to want to take this off, and you're going to want to take these side rails off and add on the CASV Scar, and then onto the front of this, the other adaptation part to the front. And underneath, you'll still add the rail and the SE5. And on the front, you're going to want to... This is one gun that I do like to run loud, so I like to run it with the BMD and run it loud. But you can also run this suppressed with the same suppressor you use on the Mutant. It's up to you on your opinion. You also add a laser attachment on the bottom. But it is up to you with your opinion if you want to run it loud. Loud gives you the best, it gives you the best ergo and recoil combo. So I do prefer running this loud. This is one gun I do prefer running loud. Another gun I prefer running loud is the SA58. If you do use that, using the BMD is a good option for both of these guns, especially considering they're 7.62. And don't forget to change the pistol grip to the growl. That's the best in slot X17 you can get. Alright, so the final gun we're going to be looking at is the SR3M. This gun is, it's more used for close range. I wouldn't use this at longer ranges. I wouldn't use this on maps such as like Lighthouse or Shoreline. I mean, depending on where you're going in Shoreline. If you're going to the health resort, then sure. But this gun is it's basically just a different variant of the AS Val. And some people do prefer the AS Val over this gun, but this gun does just get better stats in general. So it's all personal preference, but most of the modding's the same on this as the VSS. There's not much to mod, but on the VSS you can add whichever foregrip you want. So on this, you're going to want to add the R43 Val, which is the pistol grip and buffer tube combo. And then adding the same stock as we've been using the entire time, adding on the largest butt pad. On this, you can't get a rail on the top, so what you're going to want to do is add on the SR3M DT. On top of this, I like to just run an XPS 0, just a hollow, and then add on the rails on the front, and add my flashlight or laser combo. And then on the front, you just add the suppressor, and that's the entire build. That's the best you can get this. but the stats are very good and it shoots very good ammo late game. If you have the bullets to use this gun, the like good bullets, it shreds. It shreds. Thank you for watching. Those were the 5 best rifles in Escape from Tarkov that you can choose right now in patch 0.16.6.